Week 13 on iRacing is always a fun time. Not only do we have new content to try, but we get a chance to race without the pressure of losing that all-important iRating and safety rating. So in this video, I'm going to show you a couple of very entertaining Week 13 races and give you my first thoughts and impressions on some of this new content that has now been released. I would love for you to get into the comment section on this one and let me know what you think of the new cars and tracks now available on iRacing, but let's jump in to race 1. So we're going to kick things off our week 13 with the brand new Porsche Cup car at the newly art refreshed Bathurst circuit. Here are a couple of new and old images here showing the changes to the rock faces, grass textures and trees, making things look a little bit nicer here around the Bathurst track. Now, the Cup car was a lot of fun to drive, and here in qualifying we're trying to push some limits. Unfortunately, we get things a little bit wrong here coming towards the dipper, tagging the fence, and on our second flying lap we're going to make a mistake here under the tree into Reed Park, getting too much of that first curb and tagging that outside wall. So unfortunately, no qualifying lap was set. However, these are unranked races, they're just for a bit of fun. So starting from the back of the grid, we were ready to embrace some of the chaos, getting the green light and seeing what we can achieve here in this little 15-minute race. Coming down towards turn number 1, got a nice safe option here, going to take the long way around turn 1. Car number 11 there with the inside line. And you see just already so much dust here on this track this morning, all getting kicked up and right in the bellow of dust at the back of this field. We've got a little bit of a run here on car 11 down Mountain Straight as we go towards Griffin's Bend, but we don't decide to go down the inside, just playing it cautious, no real pressure behind at the moment and ready to embrace any chaos up in front. Coming towards the cutting, we have a little bit of a think of diving up the inside. Again, gonna play it cautious here. Car 11 once again on the outside, tucking in as we head up the mountain for the first time. Now it's not going to take long for things to unravel up in front. 2 places ahead, car 32, tagging that outside wall over the top of the mountain. Big damage to the right hand side of that car as he comes in to McPhillamy Park. Cannot turn the car and he fortunately slows up there to allow us to get over Skyline safely down towards the dipper. Now incredibly, it wasn't the top of the mountain on lap 1 causing the problems, but instead down into the chase. Car 12 gets turned around and also cars 2 and 4 coming to grief there. A few cars simply outbraking themselves into the chase on cold tyres, and it is relatively easy still to lose the rear of these Porsches. A bit of a rejoin incident there removes the car that was directly in front of me. So from 19th on the grid, we are up to position 13 by the end of the very first lap. What more can unfold in the rest of this 15-minute race? Over the top of the mountain now on lap number 2, and we've managed to catch up to this little pack of cars in front. The green Rexy Porsche there running wide through McPhillamy, so we're right on the tail here, coming down the mountain this second time around. Coming down towards the dipper and out towards Forest Elbow, we're looking for a really good exit here onto Conrod Straight. However, just running a little bit wide and kind of following everyone into the wall there, just managing to gather things up, but the 2 cars in front collect each other a few times. Another spin here, and the car 16 behind manages to weave his way through all of that, and we come out of it relatively unscathed as well. Here it is on the replay, quite a comical moment, everyone into the wall trying to get that good exit, and the bouncing car number 9 ricocheting off cars and walls, eventually spinning out halfway down Conrod Straight. And further up the field as well, another moment there, car 007 outbraking himself into the chase, collecting car 57 in the process. So cars are falling off left, right and centre here on these first 2 laps. Despite these cars being a bit easier to drive than their predecessor, it was still a bit of a handful, and we were seeing plenty of that. Lap number 3, the chaos continues. A yellow flag reveals a very broken green Rexy livery Porsche here over the top of the mountain. You'll see in the mirror there a lot of damage to that car. What on earth has happened there? Well, again, back in the replay, we're going to see things. Car 10 and 8, a little touch from car 8, and both cars out of shape coming through Reed Park here, having their own incidents and eventually finding each other on corner exit. Big damage to both of those cars. You see just how much that damage that is to that number 8 cars we come by there down through Skyline. Well, with 3 laps now nearly on the board, we finally were able to get a cleaner lap together and actually put some race pace times on the board. Catching here car 16, this was the car that in fact started next to me on the grid at the back of the field, so we've both managed to find ourselves now up into the top 10. But as we start lap number 4, he runs wide into turn number 1, a little bit hesitant on the throttle, but I'm still got a better exit. He's covered that inside line, which is a good move as we head up towards turn number 2 on Mountain Straight. Don't really want to be on the outside here. You see I'm running the middle of the road, holding them as narrow as possible now back to the racing line, and going to try my best to hold it around the outside here at turn 2, which I just do, and actually managed to make that one work. Really not the place that I'd consider passing, but we've managed to make that one work now up into the cutting, and hoping to put a solid lap together and make a little bit of a gap back to this car 16. Down the hill now on this 4th lap, you can see just a bit loose on the rear as we come down here. You can certainly feel the rear sliding when just a bit hard on the brakes, over rotating the car, but this new tyre really does allow you to actually catch those slides, and actually the old previous model where I've been driving it, you certainly would have found yourself into a spin, so it just allows you to be a little bit more aggressive. The next lap coming through Reed Park, the car behind absolutely makes a mess of it. Too much curb on the inside, trying a bit too narrow into that turn, finding that outside wall, and that alleviates the pressure behind. We're getting things right now through McPhillamy. Tyres have warmed up, my own driving is improving as well. Coming down the hill now, getting the car stopped. You see just a little bit of a wiggle there. That was probably one of the trickiest spots. And then getting the car turned here at Forest Elbow, a little bit understeery. You didn't want to get too heavy on the brakes, get too much of that ABS. Was really struggling to get the car turned. But overall, the things I was doing was certainly starting to make inroads on the car number 15 up in front. This lap, as we come to the end of it, the leader has set a 2-minute 3.5, and we're 7 tenths up on our previous best lap, which is going to get us into the 2-minute 4s. Found the last sector really strong for me as we come out of that corner now, 2.5 seconds to the car in front. With just a few laps to go, would we be able to catch up? It wasn't all smooth sailing. We come wide through McPhillamy, that terrible curve on the outside there, almost ending our race, just getting things together, but making it a 1.4 second gap as we start the very final lap of this race. Will we be able to claim just one more position? Even the timing to the cars 4 and 5, positions 4 and 5 coming down as well. Now as we come around this last lap, I certainly have some thoughts on this new Porsche. Obviously the introduction of traction control and ABS was probably the biggest talking point of this car. Personally, with the driving I had done in the old car, it was certainly a big challenge, and this car was going to be a lot more approachable because of the addition of those features. Now I think the old car certainly rewarded those who would really specialise in it, but for me it never really felt like you could jump into that old car and get up to pace and have fun with it. You had to put a lot of time into finding the speed, particularly around my iRacing level, where you would be constantly racing people that spend a lot of time in the Cup car. Now I'm getting the feeling that if there's a track that I enjoy, I would be able to jump in this car, find a decent pace, and go out and have a fun time with it. And that's going to allow more people to use it more often, and I think the overall experience of it will be more fun and it will bring more people into this series, which I think is exactly what the Porsche Cup car should be all about. Additionally to those features from the real world car, iRacing has now given the Cup car its latest tyre model, and just like it has been for GT4 and GT3, that has absolutely made these cars more fun to drive. You can push past the limit a bit more frequently, catch those small slides, and wait for the tyre to recover so you can get back on and keep racing hard. I think it's just that perfect balance, and once again really feeds into the fun and enjoyment of this new Cup car, and I'm expecting this next season to be one of the best for this car. Now, we didn't get to the back of this train of cars, and we're going to finish this race off in 7th position. A 2:04.2 on the final lap makes me just 0.7 slower than the fastest lap of the leader, but overall so much fun. You see the smile on my face there. I cannot get over how good this Cup car is. Expect me to do a fair bit of racing with it in the new season. Race number 2, we are heading to the Adelaide Street Circuit. Now, I've got to admit, I'm pretty happy that this track is now on iRacing. Absolutely love the Australian Supercars Adelaide 500 event, and this track really comes at you thick and fast. Lots of technical corners and a shorter type circuit. We've got the infamous Turn 8 here, full throttle in these GT3 cars, and a really neat final sector on this hybrid permanent / street circuit. Now, as first lap of qualifying, it went pretty well for me, nice and clean, but things didn't go well in the second flying lap as we approached turn number 1, the infamous centre chicane here. Just a little bit too aggressive on cold tyres, losing the rear end and collecting the barrier. So that is going to mean we're starting out of position 14, and you will have noticed we're driving the Aston Martin, trying to look for options to race next season. At the moment it's between the Ford Mustang and Aston Martin. If you've got an opinion on that for me, let me know in the comments which of those cars I should drive. Race underway though, and we've managed to go single file through the centre chicane as we head up towards turn number 4. Now, this corner comes at you much quicker than you anticipate. Early on the brakes, we're looking for a bit of a parking lot situation, and it's car 13 on the outside there. Looks like he's carrying a little bit of damage. He's not quite able to turn so much, no space on the outside there, so we're going to follow him through the staircase as we head towards turn number 7 and onto the back straight. That Porsche heads straight on with that damage, and then there's a spun Corvette on the exit of turn number 7. In the mirrors, there's going to be a bit of carnage as a result. Eyes forward though as we head down to turn number 8. Even on colder tyres after the warm-up lap, we can get through here flat, watching that outside wall. And again, turn 9 is a good passing opportunity on this track, but you need to have a pretty good run on the car in front, and it's very easy to outbrake yourself there. Into the final sector now, and we're coming around to get to turn number 11, watching that tyre bundle that sticks out a bit on the outside, and into this cool final sector through turn 13 here. A little bit of curb and then hard on the brakes down to first gear in the Aston Martin, making this corner. Give it some jandle, as Scott McLaughlin would say. Australians are going to pick that reference, and we're going to head across the line to get our first flying lap. Looking at the replay of lap 1, you see it's a 3 wide situation into turn 4, which doesn't work out well for that Porsche on the outside, and the Corvette just loses it here on cold tyres, nosing into the wall, and the inevitable happens here with cars not seeing that parked car. Lots of cars involved in these off-season weeks, producing once again the chaos. Back to the racing for the start of lap number 2. Yellow flag situation ahead. Tyre marks show that this Mercedes-Benz has nudged the wall out of turn 1. I pick up a slowdown, but unfortunately I outbrake myself into turn number 4, unsettling that Porsche in front, who unfortunately loses it on corner exit. Put my hand up for that one, obviously, and that's going to put me back into a fight here with a number 9 Mercedes-Benz as well. He's on my outside here as we come through turn number 6. We defend into turn 7, but that's going to allow him to have a better exit out of turn 7, the long back straight now, towards turn number 8. We can see him in the mirrors there, closing as we get towards turn 8. We get through here flat, but he's right under the rear wing, moves to the inside, and it's a textbook overtake into turn number 9. That's absolutely the way to do it, and the most possible place to overtake around this circuit. That's going to mean that we are chasing some of these nice I-rated drivers here. It is a split one race. There are a number of very good drivers here, so being in amongst them and trying to learn a thing or two is obviously going to be a good situation for me. Just need to keep it clean here as we get 10 minutes of this race still to go, losing a little bit of time out of turn 7 there. Heading down towards turn 8 once again. There's definitely some space behind, so I'm not too pressured at this moment. Mercedes-Benz in front, he goes for another move into turn number 9, but the Porsche moves right over to the other side of the track under brakes, and well, that was probably the inevitable way that was going to end. We managed to avoid that spun car, moves us back into a top 10 situation. A little bit wide out of turn 11 there, but thankfully not hitting those barriers. Lap number 5, and it's eyes behind. These are the cars directly behind me, side by side through the chicane, but the Porsche not giving enough space, that second part of the chicane. The Honda there trying to avoid the slowdown. It's very easy to pick up a slowdown, that second part of the chicane, and that has opened up a ginormous gap to the cars behind. It's really turning into a race of attrition, this one, and that is giving a bit of a signal as to what the racing could be like here. Week 3 of the next season is Adelaide Street Circuit for the GT3 series. Now we are trying to explore the limits here on this lap, and unfortunately we do tag the wall coming out of turn 11. Those tyre bundles just sticking out a little bit there. Going to pick up a 2x on the incident points, but a little bit of wheel damage, which to be fair isn't going to affect the car too much for the rest of this race. A few laps later, up in front, Mercedes number 11, nice opportunistic move into the final corner. It's absolutely a place you can pass. Porsche not quite giving enough racing room. He goes around and he rejoins directly in front of me with a few laps to go to once again give me something to chase or someone to learn from, mostly these last few laps. The Porsche seemed to be one of the stronger cars here, so we'll see if anything changes by season 3. Pushing once again, we do tag that outside wall at turn 11, so that's going to be a focus point when we come back here for GT3 racing. Into the final lap now, and I feel like I've done a pretty decent job to keep onto the back of these faster drivers in front. 15 seconds now, the gap to the cars behind, so I'm at least in the ballpark when it comes to pace, and being able to get around here cleanly seems to be the way forward, and it will be the talking point of week number 3. Through turn 11 once again, missing that tyre bundle, and we'll put a little bit of time as well into car 9 up in front. So overall, really happy with this race, and I've got to admit, this track is a lot of fun. You've got to be really pinpoint accurate. So easy to get things wrong yourself and ruin your own race. Coming across the line in position number 8, and in fact that's going to be upgraded to position 7 as the third place car had his own moment here at turn 11 on the very final lap. So all happy here. Adelaide, you are rad. Looking forward to week 3 of the next season. So there are my first thoughts and experiences with the new season iRacing content. I've got to admit that I think iRacing have knocked it out of the park once again with this update. The changes to the Porsche Cup car particularly have truly made that car far more accessible to many drivers. That series will be very popular in Season 1 2026. Now, I would love to hear your thoughts on this new update as well, so let me know in the comments, particularly if you are someone who drove the old Porsche Cup car. What are these new changes like? How are you finding it in your first moments of driving it? Without a doubt though, there is some real excitement for the next season starting next week, and I look forward to bringing you all the action as it unfolds as we start to push towards my first ever iRacing special event next January as well. If you're new around here and you want to see how that action unfolds, well, please consider subscribing to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and enjoy the rest of your week 13 chaos. I'll certainly got some more car testing to do for GT3 car choice, so maybe see you out on track there. But as always, race hard, stay positive. We'll see you soon for week 1, season 1, 2026 next week. See you then. Cheers.